Hello Electroheads. Earlier on this year I took a look at a pre-production Kia EV9 in a studio in London and I was actually seriously impressed. It was a big, absolutely massive, especially by Electroheads standards, electric car which offered a much needed 6 and 7-seater configuration into the market. It put the interior comfort of its customers at the forefront of the design. But my question was, is putting all of that interior comfort at the forefront going to hurt the Kia EV9 when it comes to its driving refinement? I'm in beautiful but a little bit cold Scotland and I'm finding out if this thing is actually as cumbersome to drive as it looks. If you like electric mobility content, well, this is the place to be. Please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Let's iron out some figures early doors. As mentioned, you can configure the EV9 as a conventional 7-seater with a standard 3 middle bench, or you can opt for a 6-seater setup with 2 fancy swivelling captain chairs. Kia will offer 3 grades: Air, GT Line and GT Line S, and all models get a long-range 99.8 kilowatt-hour battery with a heat pump, enabling it to travel up to 349 miles before having to top up, of which, when you're doing so, is almost a pleasure rather than a chore, with 800-volt ultra-fast charging tech capable of blasting 70% of charge in as little as 24 minutes. But all that doesn't come cheap. The EV9 will start from £65,000 all the way up to £76,995. Now, what I find interesting is the Peugeot E3008, which has just been announced from the Stellantis group. Well, they have a very similar 98 kilowatt-hour battery, but they claim that car can achieve, well, in excess of 435 miles. Nearly 100 more than the EV9. Sure, it's slightly more aerodynamic in its styling, but I was already a little bit sceptical about that claim from Stellantis, and we know that Kia are pretty accurate when it comes to their predictions. So I know what my money is on for being the more accurate figure. Kia have always said that they didn't want their cars to look like Russian dolls. They wanted them to all have their own personalities, and you can very much tell that from the exterior, and on the interior it's the same. It may have some similarities, like the 2 large touchscreens to the EV6, but it very much has its own quirks and its own personality. And as you can imagine, when it comes to this car, it's all about space, practicality and comfort for all the interior passengers. So it may have a same screen layout as you get in the EV6, but there's a little bit of an added screen in the EV9, and that's this part in the middle. So this is your dedicated climate control. On the EV6, it has its own screen underneath the touchscreen, but here it's just to the right. Now this is one of the things that I'm really not a fan of on the EV9. It doesn't seem to make any sense to me. It's too far away from your passenger for it to be practical for them, but as a driver, the steering wheel blocks it, so it makes little to no sense. Now, you can press in the top corner, and this will extend the screen so you can then see it, which I think is far more practical. And in fact, it probably should just stay like that. You also have these slightly strange haptic buttons which are built into the dashboard. They look clean, they look nice and sleek, but actually they don't always work that well. For instance, you kind of have to press underneath and you just about get some feedback to know that it's worked, but I really would have preferred just to have buttons or to have that little screen. Underneath you do have some physical shortcut buttons to your climate control, and these are really user-friendly. The steering wheel is also bespoke to the EV9. It's slightly different from the other models. I really like the design. It's really easy to use. You've got physical buttons, and I love this, the Kia badge glows at night. You also have your drive mode and terrain mode on the steering wheel, so they're really easy to access. Like a lot of other vehicles, Kia have now put the gear selector behind the steering wheel and the start-stop buttons on there as well. I'm not a massive fan of this. A lot of brands are doing this to remove it from the centre console and make more space, but personally I think it takes a little bit of getting used to. You'll also find the regenerative brake buttons which are behind the steering wheel, and you've got your standard dials for, of course, your automatic lights and automatic rain sensing wipers. Now, when it comes to standard tech on this car, it is expensive, but you do get a lot of bang for your buck. One of the things that demands such that high price tag is just comfort and convenience, even for the 6th and 7th passenger. All the way in the back here, I've still got ample amount of legroom and tons of headroom because of that boxy shape of the EV9. I've also got cup holders, USB chargers for both backseat passengers, and I've got electrically reclining seats. The comfort really does excel to all of the cabin. Now, this is one of the really cool features that I didn't get to test out in the pre-production model, and that's the swiveling captain seats in the rear. If you go for the 6-seater configuration, then you can get these seats that not only slide forwards and backwards, but they also rotate all the way round. So if you really wanted to, you can sit to face your rear seat passengers. They're also really handy for another reason. If you have passengers with mobility issues, this will make it way easier for them to get in and out the back of the car. Also, it's super handy because, like today, if you're in a beautiful location, you can sit back with a cup of tea with the door open and look at the view. The EV9 might look like it has all the driving dynamics of, well, a fridge freezer, but it actually packs a reasonable punch. Even in its least powerful rear-wheel drive variant, it can reach speeds of up to 112 miles per hour and get from 0 to 62 in just shy of 10 seconds. Okay, admittedly that's not actually quick, but this thing weighs the best part of 2.5 tonnes, and 0 to 30 feels instant. Plus, if that's not enough for you, the all-wheel drive variant kicks it up a notch, offering a snappy 378 brake horsepower and will get you to 62 in nearly half the time at 5.3 seconds. This means it actually holds its own against rivals like the Model Y and also the BMW iX. Irrespective of its size and weight, the EV9 offers, well, surprisingly solid and enjoyable driving experience. It has responsive handling, grippy traction, and a comfortable suspension. The car feels agile on country roads, and it provides a nice balance between comfort and sportiness, something I just hadn't anticipated. The versatility is aided with its various driving modes, including sport and off-road settings, allowing you to customise your driving experience. It also has features like customisable brake regeneration and a one-pedal setting which provides strong brake regen without it being too grabby. It's like having your own personal driving coach by your side. Overall, the EV9 is a powerful and comfortable electric SUV that offers a great driving experience. It's like driving into the future where performance meets family comfort, and all of the advanced features are at your fingertips. I said fingertips with a TH, not. There was one piece of the puzzle left for them to have nailed the EV9, and that's driver engagement. And I'm so pleased that despite its absolute massive size and the appearance of a fridge freezer, it does actually drive really well. But there's no denying that the Kia EV9 is a pricey car, which is going to be reserved for, well, only really the wealthy, and that's a bit of a shame. We need more accessible large cars, but hopefully Kia producing such an impressive car will make other manufacturers realise that they need to step up. I really hope you have enjoyed this video today, guys. If you have, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more electric car and electric mobility content, then hit the subscribe button and follow along with the Electroheads channel.